Welcome back, everyone, and hello. Hope you're ready for some more reading because I've got my book. And as you can probably tell, look, we're almost done. So there's probably about 2 more videos after this, probably. Can't imagine there'd be any more. There's not a lot to this book. Some pages don't have many words on them, just pictures, which are nice, but anyway, shall we get on with it? Oh, in case you're wondering, my therapy friends, they're having some time off. Because, I don't want to overwork them. Otherwise, I'll have to get some more therapy friends for them. Shall we? What talent would he looks like? Here are the more common words and phrases that a successful individual or team would associate with their achievements. Belief. Open-minded. Being positive. Practice. Effort. Confidence. Learning again and again. Making thousands of mistakes. Challenging yourself. Those are words and phrases. So the next time you witness a human do something seemingly out of this world, imagine yourself in their shoes. Mind yourself how much work has gone into this moment and how they start from the same point as everyone else, with a dream and a determination to make it come true. We are now well underway with our mission to be awesome. We're in a growth mindset. Our neural connections are growing faster than Justin Bieber's fan club, and we know the best ways to practice. It does take a while to get good at stuff. There is quite a lot of practice involved, but that's okay. We're up for the challenge, aren't we? So let's get to it. Over to you. Getting good at stuff. Your essential toolkit. So you've started to shape your growth mindset. You're starting to view mistakes not as failures, but as learning opportunities. You're prepared to put in tons of challenging practice to improve. Your growth mindset mantra. Remind yourself of these key steps. If things start to get a bit tricky, remember the following, or repeat the following, I think is more appropriate. I'm going to practice hard. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to be positive about it. And I'm really proud of it so far. It's all about small steps and giant leaps. Much like Neil Armstrong on the moon, remember? One small step, one giant leap. It had been the match of their lives, the 2016 Olympic final. But it wasn't over. The game had ended in a draw and the GB women's hockey team were facing a tense penalty shootout. Oh, for those of you outside the UK, I should point out, GB is short for Great Britain. We use terms like Great Britain, United Kingdom, England and other parts. Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, Northern Ireland, Isle of Man, Shetland, Orkney, Gibraltar, Falkland. I think that's it. But you get the idea. Apologies if I left out any part of the country that has its own identity or own separatist tendencies. The GB's women hockey team were facing a tense penalty shootout. They had already pulled off some spectacular play during the match, but the team needed to dig deep for a few more minutes if they were to take home the gold. The crowd watched, the fans at home held their breath, the players calmly stepped up, and they did it. Helen Richardson-Walsh and Holly Webb scored the decisive penalties that sealed their place in history. The team went wild. Players had given the rule and it had paid off. But it hadn't always been this way. At the Olympics in Athens in 2004, Great Britain didn't even qualify to send a women's hockey team. In Beijing, they came 6th. There was a long way to go. People thought fixed mindset things about GB's hockey ability. "We're not cut out for it," they would say. In London in 2012, things were looking up and the team won a bronze medal. But then disaster struck. The coach retired and the team lost their focus. They came 11th at the World Cup in 2014. It was a huge setback, and the next Olympics in Rio was only 2 years away. It was going to be a mega task to get them. Let's start again. It was going to be a mega task to get the team mojo back, let alone win a medal, and gold was a distant dream. Something had to be done, so the team made a plan. They had seen the success the British rugby and cycling teams had had with an idea called marginal gains. Marginal gains sound quite complicated, but it's actually a super simple and brilliant idea. Marginal gains means breaking down a big goal into small parts, and then improving each of them, delivering a huge improvement in overall performance when you put all parts back together. So the team got to work. They looked at every single thing that they were going to need to do to win big in Rio, in teeny tiny detail. Let's take a look at just some of what they did. Fitness. They designed a whole new fitness plan, and everyone had to arrive 10 minutes before training started, every day. In the past, the team would turn up right on the dot of the start time. Some would be late and would spend time getting ready for the first 10 minutes, taking their headphones off, putting their bags away, filling up their water bowls. So you get roughly what was happening here. But think about that, 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, just faffing about. If you don't know what faffing means, it just means, procrastinating, doing things that you could have done before, or things that didn't need doing. In this case, it's things that could have been done earlier, or should have been. It adds up to about 42 hours of lost training a year. That's a whole working week. Making sure they were 100% ready at the beginning of each session gave them 42 hours of extra training time. That is a marginal gain right there. See, I understand it. See, what they're saying is, by doing everything 10 minutes earlier, they gained a whole 42 hours in total over the year. Well, roughly 42 hours over the course of 1 year. Now, that may not seem a lot, but it all helps. Every little helps, as they say. Attitude. So let me get comfy. To win an Olympic medal, you've got to be in the right mood on the day. You need to be ready, hyped, well up for the challenge, positively buzzing. Being in a bad mood is going to be unhelpful to say the least, so you don't want to be doing anything that is going to make you grumpy. Like sitting on a team bus next to someone who listens to music on the way to the match. How annoying is that, when all you want is dead silence? That's what headphones are for. I mean, if you want dead silence, you really want someone who will listen, because that way they don't interrupt you. I mean, what would be worse if wanting dead silence and you're stuck next to someone who will not shut up and keeps trying to initiate conversations? I mean, sometimes conversation is nice, but no. Sometimes you just want silence for a bit, don't you? Or just to be left alone with your thoughts. Imagine getting changed next to someone who flings their kit around the room like your dad when he can't find his best tennis shorts, and all you want is to be calm and tidy. Yeah, that would annoy me. So the team changed all of it. They figured out who liked silence on the bus, and they sat together, always. They figured out who liked to listen to music, and they sat together on the bus too. Always. The calm and tidy changers had one side of the change room, and the messier ones had the other. These were small changes, but they created routine and improved everyone's mood before their matches. They were still nervous, but they were much more focused and much less grumpy. These were marginal gains. See, this is what they call working smarter instead of harder. Because I've heard people talk about this in sports before. They say that sometimes the mental state can be just as big a attribute in the whole game than anything else almost. Good lord, look at the size of it. Sorry, I've just spied a big ass spider. I'm going to have to, put him in a cup and dump him outside. I shall return. Okay, I'm back. If you're wondering, the spider is still here. By the time I found a cup and a suitable piece of card to put underneath the card so I could safely put it into another place, it buggered off. It's presumably behind my wardrobe, I think. So, I do. In hindsight, I probably should not have spoken out loud about my plans, but still. These things happen. On with the book. Practice. We already know that not all practice is equal, and that this team did think in Thursday to ensure that practice making decisions under pressure was super hard. We discussed this before in a previous chapter. I forget which one, but we did. They also made sure they were practicing in as close to real competition conditions as they possibly could. They thought about what the weather would be like in Rio in August and practiced for that. Now I can imagine that in Rio during the summer, I imagine it's really, really hot and humid. I don't actually know this, I haven't actually looked. But I imagine it is. They even installed an exact replica of the Rio pitch at their training ground so the surroundings would be familiar. Why waste time training on a pitch that might be different from the one you'll play on in the finals? Surely better to know every inch of the actual pitch before you even get there. It's not going to win you the Olympics, but it is going to give you another small advantage. Another marginal gain. And when these dedicated, determined women added up all their marginal gains, the sum was a massive gain in performance. It was an Olympic medal. The gold one. Marginal gains is all about finding and improving the small things that can make a difference. And we can all do this. It doesn't have to be sport. Everyone's doing it these days. Businesses are using it to be more efficient and to make more money. Even the army think it's a good idea, so why can't we do it on our journey to awesomeness? Whenever we're faced with a big task, it's natural to feel overwhelmed. Let's say an important test is looming at school. We have to revise if we want to do well. The thought of all that work ahead can make it hard to know where to start. In this situation, the better advice is to make a revision plan. This means setting up a timetable that helps you to cover everything comfortably within the time available. Some areas will need more attention than others, of course, depending on what you're good at and what needs work. With the plan in place, it's much easier to tick off each task in turn, knowing you'll be ready when you need to perform. Breaking your workload down into achievable chunks is key to a revision plan. And marginal gains take a similar approach, so here it is in simple steps. 1. You take a big task. 2. You break it down into smaller parts. 3. You assess each part and shape up those that you could do better. Number 4. Put all the small parts back together for a big improvement in performance. Meet Marginal Matthew. I haven't mentioned the block yet. It's such a big deal, I can't believe we're only just getting to it now. When my brother and I weren't in the garage playing table tennis, we were obsessed. And I mean obsessed with the block. Now I know what you're thinking, what on earth is the block? The block is a hardcore, extreme 850 metre pavement racecourse around 3 streets that surrounded the house where I grew up. Everyone did the block, If they came to our house, it was the competition to end all competitions. We timed each attempt and wrote down everyone's results in a notebook that I still have to this day. My mum had a go at it, she walked, while my dad got lost halfway round, which wasn't easy to do. Even the vicar joined in, he was surprisingly fast. You get the picture, everyone had to do it. It was a thing. But it was the competition between me, my brother, and our school friends that was the most fun. Now, I'm going to quickly show you the block. There's a picture of it, so you get an idea. See? When my brother Andrew broke the block's 3-minute barrier, it felt like we'd won gold at the Olympics. We went straight round to Mark Orpherson's house to tell him because he had previously held a record at 3 minutes and 1 second. It was an epic day, or so we thought anyway. But it didn't stop there. I needed to beat Andrew. He couldn't be top of the block. His name in lights in the results book. No way. Not ever. I embarked on a marginal gains approach to the situation. I looked at the run and everything connected to it, and then I broke it down into as many components as I could think of. This was my list, or something close to it. I destroyed the actual list because I didn't want my brother stealing my secrets. I turned into marginal Matthew. I needed to win at the block, so I needed a strategy. Matthew, and here we are at Matthew's marginal gains assessment. The goal, to go sub 3 minutes around the block and do the double by beating my brother. My exercise routine. I'm busy at school during the week and I practice table tennis in the evenings. I swim on Wednesdays and run with my dad on Sundays. He needs me to stop him getting him lost. My sleep pattern. I love reading in bed and sometimes that means I stay up late. On Fridays I often have a sleepover at a friend's house. Diet. I try to eat healthily most of the time. Sometimes I skip breakfast in case I'm late for school. Running gear. My running shoes are brand new. I only have a winter top with long sleeves, which means sometimes I get too hot. My pre-run routine. I'm pre-fit but probably don't do enough stretching to warm up. My previous runs. I often start too quickly, which can ruin my race. If I get the pace right, I know my finishing sprint is strong. Now that's a mistake I sometimes make when I go jogging. What I do is, I feel good when I start, so I go at a good speed, and then I get halfway and I realise what I'm actually doing is going too fast. I've made the second half too hard. With all the components laid out in front of me, I was able to look at each one in turn. It made it easier to figure out what was going to help me achieve the goal of beating my brother. I wrote down what needed to change if I was going to win. I also made a point of highlighting what worked. My exercise routine. I aim to make our Sunday run longer and slower. This will help me to build up stamina. My sleep pattern. I'll get an early night on Friday before the run and make Saturday nights for sleepovers. Diet. Stop skipping breakfast. It's an important meal. Running gear. Save up for a short-sleeved running top. My pre-run routine? No change. Keep it up. Previous runs. Start out steadily and build up the pace towards a strong finish. So things start to shape up nicely. In week 1, I was doing 3 minutes 25 seconds. Week 2, I was doing 3 minutes and 27 seconds. In week 3, I was doing 3 minutes and 21 seconds. Week 4, I was doing 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And week 5, I was doing 3 minutes and 12 seconds. It was looking good. I had set out to fine tune everything that went into my performance. And I was starting to see an improvement. All those seemingly small details were beginning to add up. The awesome thing was that it started to become even more fun. Andrew was watching my strategy and trying to figure out one of his own too. So we were both improving, both pushing each other on. We even started to do the block together, which meant that if one of us was thinking of coasting, the other would have something to say about it. We even did it in the middle of the night once. Do not do this, by the way, as it is dark and there will be many hazards about. That's your for people, but I would say that too. Be careful when you do things at night, okay? Try to keep things for daytime if you can. But of course, it's not always possible, I understand that. Indiana broke the 3-minute mark. In the following few weeks, I went even faster. By week 8, I was doing it in 2 minutes and 49 seconds. My brother broke 3 minutes too, which made me really proud of him. Although I did not say this at the time, as we were still battling to be top dog, but the competition was making us both better. By the way, we've still got the results book. My mum and dad still live there. The competition is still open, just in case you want to have a go at the block next time you're in Reading. Good to know. And that, people, is the end of tonight's video. And by the looks of it, the next video will be the last. So I'm going to have to try and find a new book. I have other books, although I haven't read any of them. But we'll see. What we'll do is, we'll start another book and we'll just see how it goes. So until next time, people, please take care of yourselves. Bye.